Rotarians, Rotaractors, and guests, welcome to the Zones 28 and 32 Director Dialogue Series for January 2021. Today, we're pleased to have past Rotary International President Valarie Rassin with us and Rotary International Director Valarie Wafer to talk about elevating Rotaract.
I moved here and really didn't know anyone.
I wanted to get started on my career.
I felt like I needed to be more active and give back.
I wanted to be in a career that I loved. Always learning, always following my goals.
I knew I wanted to help people and create lasting change.
I was looking for a way to connect with new people and make friends. Something fun and social.
Something that makes me a better person.
Something meaningful.
I've grown to know my neighbors.
And work with them to improve our community.
I'm becoming the impactful leader I want to be.
And through it all, I've had fun and met some of the best people.
I found connections, solved problems, and made a difference.
I've built a network, a community.
We took action. We joined Rotaract.
Hello, everyone. I look like I'm wearing Rotaract colors. I'm not really sure what just happened. I gotta love technology. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I will correct this problem in a minute, but I kind of like my new suit. It really looks good. And my pink hair. There you go. And my pink eyes. That's rather disturbing. But anyways, thank you all so much for being with us here tonight. I'm so excited to have our next time with our Director Dialogue Series, and we have a very important program for you tonight, and we are absolutely thrilled to have over 780 participants registered with us this evening, and so thank you and Happy New Year to everyone. I am thrilled to have with us past Rotary International President Valarie Rassin with us tonight. So Valarie, I just want to take a few minutes to welcome you and say hello on behalf of all Rotarians in zones 28 and 32. We bring greetings to you and wish you and Esther a very happy new year.
Thank you, Valarie. It's truly a pleasure to be here and to be with you. Looks like you just gave that same problem to my background too. What you're doing with these dialogues, I think, is excellent. I really appreciate the opportunity to be with you.
Well, that's great. So I know we had a little chance to catch up the other day and compare some notes. Being isolated is a little more pleasant perhaps in Bahamas than it is in our part of the world. It was a balmy 38 degrees Fahrenheit or 3.5 degrees Celsius here today.
Yes, we are much more fortunate. Yeah, beautiful day today. I played golf yesterday. I had to worry about getting too much sun. That's how nice it was.
And I've just fixed my screen, and I want to give a special shout out to past Director Jeffrey Carteret, who obviously has experience in this and sent me a message. So thank you so much. So yeah, no, it's wonderful. You're a huge advocate, obviously, for our subject matter tonight. And so why don't we get started? Why don't we get this program started? So over to you, Bruce Goldson.
Thanks, Valarie. It's now our pleasure to welcome past District Governor Mary Lou Harrison from District 7070 to introduce tonight's keynote speaker.
Thanks so much, Bruce. A Rotaractor, to whom I may or may not be related, suggested to me over the holidays that one way to elevate the voices of Rotaractors more is for Rotarians to say less. So I will keep my introduction short. The theme for 2018-19, RI President Valarie Rassin's year was Be the Inspiration. And this is a theme that he continues to live as he inspires our Rotary family to embrace Rotaract and Rotaractors fully. In his year as RI President, Valarie encouraged us all to be the flamingos of change in Rotary even if that meant ruffling perhaps a few feathers while going in a different direction. Let's hear more about the changes made to date and those still needed to elevate Rotaract to its proper and equal place in our incredible Rotary family. Please welcome RI past President Valarie Rassin from the Rotary Club of East Nassau, Bahamas.
Wow, thank you so much, Mary Lou. I love the stories about the flamingos. It's warms my heart. We continue to have so many. I now have walls lined with pictures of flamingos, but they represent that change. And here we have elevating Rotaract, to me, is one of President Holger's doors that we've opened to be able to provide an opportunity to grow our organization in a number of ways. So I want to talk first a little about how we got to where we are and where we need to go from here, because we've truly only just started the journey. We started by recognizing that we have 250,000 individuals in this thing called Rotaract who are adults from 18 to 30 doing amazing things in their clubs and for their districts, for their communities, and in some cases running their Rotaract clubs better than a lot of Rotary clubs. So why are we just a program? So we said, let's make a change. Let's bring Rotaract into the same world as Rotary clubs. So the Council on Legislation in 2019 said, yes, we will change our constitutional bylaws, and they made the Rotaract clubs members of Rotary International. That's a significant change. That now brings them to a level of equality along with Rotary clubs. That was just a beginning, though. Now the board and the Rotary Foundation trustees had to determine what other changes go along with ensuring that our Rotaractors feel that they truly are an equal part of our organization. So after the council made their changes, then we started seeing more changes come along. The board changed the maximum age was 18 to 30. They've said, why should we have an arbitrary retirement age from Rotaract? Everybody isn't ready to move to Rotary at 30. And some are actually ready earlier and could go to Rotary clubs because they want to whenever they can. But others, they're not quite ready yet. They want that time, and they really enjoy Rotaract, so they don't really want to move away from their Rotaract club. So the age was changed. And by the way, these decisions didn't just come out of the blue by us in Rotary clubs and on the board and the trustees. These came from Rotaractors. These were recommendations coming from our Rotaractors from around the world. The board asked in a number of surveys what Rotaractors felt about dues, and we made a decision by the board that as of July 22, there will be dues, and we need to look at the university-based clubs and the community-based clubs a little differently. Obviously, the university-based, they're still in their universities, they're still studying, they're before beginning their careers, while the community-based have started their career. We wanted to keep it small, a nominal figure, so it's $5 per member per year for the university-based and $8 per member per year for the community-based. The whole idea being is now they have a true commitment to the organization, but more importantly even than that, now Rotary has an obligation to provide more services to our Rotaract clubs. And that includes changing our database so that we can get every Rotaractor into our database, just like Rotarians are in our database. That is really critical for us if we want to be able to work with Rotaractors just like we work with Rotarians, to enable Rotaractors to get full access to everything that we have on our website and all the resources that Rotary has to offer. They have access to a lot right now, but it's not quite the same, and we need to fix that. Then the Rotary Foundation, the trustees said, well, we need to make sure they have equal access as well. So we will make them able to participate with global grants. So they can be a host, a partner host, or a local host for global grants as of July 1st, 2022 as well. So they have full access to that. And if we're going to do that, they said, well, they ought to be eligible for our Distinguished Service Award and our Meritorious Service Awards, as they're now going to be working so closely with Rotaract. And that's exactly what they did. So they're also going to be eligible. And we have to keep in mind, it's going to take them a little while to get under their belt the kind of experience and resume of what they've done with the foundation to really have an equal opportunity to get the awards. But at least now they know that they can work toward those awards. So a lot of things have changed. On the other hand, all that's changed is making changes on paper. Change our bylaws, we change our constitution, change our code of policy. We've done a lot. And for Rotary, I believe we've gone really fast in making these changes. Then we had to talk about the spirit of including Rotaract in what we do. We talked about Rotary clubs need to put Rotaractors on their committees in leadership positions so they can get some experience. I'll talk more about leadership. We also want our districts to put our Rotaractors on district committees, again, so they're getting experience in leadership. Really important obligation we have to help them develop their leadership skills. So we're seeing a lot more appointments. The trustees now have a Rotaractor sitting at the table with our trustees as we make decisions, and we have Rotaractors sitting at the table with the board of directors. They don't have a vote because we have to change the constitution for that, but they're there. We have the opportunity to listen, to get their opinion, so that we know where our young professionals stand in the directions that we're going. And that's really what's important. Over time, I'm sure we'll find a way to make them equal members of our boards. I'll give you an example. When the foundation created the 7th area of focus for the environment, we set up a committee with 4 Rotarians and 4 Rotaractors. Wow. I don't think that's been done before, where we have an equal number of Rotaractors and Rotarians sharing on a task force to make our decision to develop the details for an area of focus. I think that tells you on the international level how serious Rotary is to bring our Rotaractors into the fold to ensure they're part of the decision making. We ask our districts to do the same. Now, we also ask our Rotaractors that they have to do their part in this. This isn't just a one-way street, this is a two-way street. So they need to be good members of Rotaract. They need to think about E-Ray. We all know E-Ray, E-R-E-Y, is every Rotarian every year. Well, it really should have 2 R's, every Rotarian and every Rotaractor every year. They need to also be supporting our foundation. And this is a time where our foundation really needs that kind of support. So we ask them to participate in that. And I talked earlier a little about leadership. Keep in mind, we really need to step back from our Rotary clubs and our Rotaract clubs and ask ourselves, are we doing enough for our members? And that's a really serious question, because when you look at our graphs for membership growth or not growth over the last many years, what you find is people join our clubs and they leave within 2 years. We're not meeting their expectations. Well, we need to do more. And part of what we need to do is help to develop their leadership skills. And this is even more important for our Rotaractors for the simple reason they're just new in their careers. They're in university or just out of university. They're starting their family. They're starting their life. They want to set a path of success. We should contribute to their ability to walk that path in a very strong way. Now, we have a lot of resources already in Rotary to help build their leadership skills, but we also went to Toastmasters and asked Toastmasters to put together their expertise in Rotary language. And while it took us a couple of years to work out the details, we were able to do it. They have done it. And we already have 8 modules on Rotary.org that's available to all of us. So it doesn't have to just be Rotaract. but certainly the idea was to give them an opportunity to have these leadership development programs so they could develop as individuals. And that's happening. So we have the 8 modules, and I ask everybody, take a look at them, try them out, bring them to your clubs. Let's grow our leadership in not only Rotaract clubs, but in Rotary clubs. We also have to think seriously about mentoring. And mentoring, again, it's a two-way street. We have the experience, we've been through, and we've had all kind of obstacles and successes over our careers when we've been, I mean, I'm one of the old guys here, and we've accomplished a lot, and we've failed a lot. And we can share those stories. We can help young professionals to really grasp the life ahead of them and perhaps help them guide their way through it. I mean, every experience is a good experience, even if it's a bad success or a good success. But we need to learn from it. We need to know how to learn. So we can share that with our young professionals. On the other hand, our young professionals, our Rotaractors, they understand this world today better than we do. They understand the digital platforms better than we do. When you look at any club that's getting on Zoom or doing more and more virtual, you'll look at some of the younger members who are putting them together. But that's a good thing. So we need to work better together. And really the secret sauce here is that relationship. The fact that Rotarians and Rotaractors are spending time together to understand each other, to create a relationship. Once we do that, then Rotaractors are going to want to join our Rotary clubs. Because we have to remember, this all started because less than 4% of Rotaractors were joining Rotary clubs. They didn't see us as a fun place to be. We met at the wrong times. We're too expensive. They loved what we did to change the world, though. They want to do that kind of service. They want to make a difference. They want to do good, and they love that we're doing that. What they don't love is all the ways that some of our clubs are doing it. So we're asking them to join clubs and help them become more relevant to today's young professionals. We're also asking them to, if you don't see a club and you really can't join that Rotary club, then start your own Rotary club just for graduates of Rotaract. Whatever you do, we need to encourage our Rotaractors to stay in Rotary. And when I talk about them as the future of Rotary, I talk about them because they are going to be the future leaders of Rotary. And we need to help them develop their skills so they truly can be great leaders for our organization as they move down the road and get more and more jobs in Rotary. And it is happening. Districts are embracing this many places around the world, and they're putting Rotaractors in charge of various programs and projects, and they're stepping back and saying, wow, they are really doing a great job. I went to one institute last year in South America where they gave a half a morning of the institute to Rotaract. Do whatever you want, do it the way you want to do it. And I'll apologize if I insult anybody online, but I got to tell you, that half day was the best half day of institute that I went to for the year. Absolutely incredible. They did a fantastic job, full of energy. And as we know, our young people always are full of energy. So, and we know that our environment, that's a passion of our Rotaractors. They bring that to the table almost unanimously. They also, their gender balance is better than Rotary. They bring that to the table. They're doing a lot of the right things. We can learn from that, and we can work with them as they can learn from us. I mean, even changing the name of our magazine from The Rotarian to Rotary, part of that was so that we could be more relevant to the young professionals. So we're really going down this road to help our young professionals, our young members, and they're no longer just a program of Rotary. They're partners of ours, and we need to appreciate that and work with them. And I ask you, especially all of you who are in the United States, look around you as a club and find young people that can start Rotaract clubs, because we really could do with a whole lot more Rotaract in the United States. I mean, my district, as an example, has 54 Rotaract clubs. In Africa, we have districts with 50, 60, 70 Rotaract clubs. In India, we have one with 150 Rotaract clubs. In America, we don't. We have 5 to 15 in most districts. We could do a whole lot better in the United States. And it's up to the Rotary clubs to make that happen. And you'll love it. You will get a new passion for Rotary because you're seeing and feeling the passion of our young people. So I think I'll leave it there. I know we've got a panel coming up that's going to ask many difficult questions. I'm sure I just answered the easy ones, but let's go to the panel. And again, I appreciate your taking this opportunity seriously so that we truly can bring in more young professionals into our organization. And over time, we convince them all to join Rotary. Guess what's going to happen to our membership? Finally, after 20 years, we're going to see a growth in membership of Rotary International. That's because of what you're going to do in your Rotary clubs to make a difference. So I thank you all. Thanks for being here. More importantly, thank you for what you're going to do to bring Rotaract to a much better place in the United States. Thank you all.
Thank you, Past President Barry. Next, Barry will join our Director Valarie Wafer in a panel discussion with 2 Rotaractors from Zone 28. Joey Visen from the Rotaract Club of Victoria, BC began his Rotary journey as an interactor in 2012 and is currently the General Secretary of Big West Rotaract Multi-District Information Organization. Phoenix McLaren is an active Rotaractor in District 5050. Most recently, Phoenix joined the Board of Directors for the Rotary Foundation Canada and Big West Rotaract as their Chief of Staff. She serves as a committee member for the RI Rotaract Committee and is also in her 2nd year as an Assistant Rotary Coordinator for Zone 28. Please welcome our panelists on our discussion.
Thank you very much for that introduction of our panel, Bruce. And thank you so much for your words, Barry. It's so important. We're really looking forward to continuing this conversation and perhaps getting some individual views on some of the points that you brought up. You know, one of the important things that you mentioned, I think, is that we have changed things on paper, and that this discussion and this dialogue tonight is going to highlight some ways that we can take this discussion and put it into action on it. And this discussion and this conversation really needs to be an ongoing part of who we are and our discussions going forward. So let's get started with a few questions. You know, Barry, when you began your speech or your conversation, you spoke about how we got here, and you mentioned the 2019 Council on Legislation and how that amended our Constitution, included Rotaract clubs as a membership type rather than a program. So I'm looking to perhaps Phoenix and Joey to share some thoughts about how this changes perhaps what this means to you and to other Rotaractors. If you could give us some of your thoughts on that.
Certainly. You know, I think for me, what I've seen is there's a greater understanding and respect for Rotaract, especially in our region. When you're talking to Rotarians, there's more of an emphasis on including Rotaract in all those discussions. And so we are really seeing a big effort by Rotarians in including Rotaractors in everything related to Rotary.
And Joey?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think when we talk about how Rotaract's changed from being a program, I think as a program, we really were looked at sort of as a project of Rotary clubs, and now we're truly being recognized for the value that we bring to the organization. And, you know, as actual members, I think we'll see us having maybe more of a voice at the table, and Rotary International has been leading at this, like Barry said, by having representation at the board and with the trustees and in committees. And I think, you know, districts and clubs can do that too by engaging Rotaractors meaningfully in their committees and projects and things like that.
And Barry, you mentioned that you're already seeing a change as you travel around the Rotary world and speak about Rotaract, as far as what Joey was just highlighting about the inclusion at club and district level.
There's no question. Everywhere I've been, they're asking the questions. How do we do this? How do we do that? How do we create that relationship? They haven't seen their Rotaract club in years. They're starting over, and that's exactly what we needed to do. They're asking all the right questions. They're putting Rotaractors on committees. They're engaging them. And that's what it's all about, as we know in Rotary. We have to engage our members, and Rotaractors are our members, so let's engage them as well.
Right, excellent. You also touched on the fact that the trustees are now recognizing that, or have been recognizing that many Rotaract clubs have already been participating and initiating service projects aligned with Rotary's areas of focus, but without any funding assistance from Rotary International or Rotary Foundation. So beginning July 1, 2022, Rotaract clubs will be able to participate in global grants. Perhaps Joey and Phoenix, you can give us your thoughts on this exciting change and how our districts can assist in the partnership of service.
Sure. Thanks, Valerie. I think, I definitely agree. There's so many great Rotaract projects out there. You can just look up the Rotaract Outstanding Project Awards and see all of the great projects that Rotaractors do around the world. Currently, without the support of the Rotary Foundation, I think Rotaract clubs have also proven the ability to raise funds, but maybe haven't seemed compelled to give to our foundation. This could be because of a lack of knowledge, or maybe they because they haven't been able to use the foundation funds in their projects, which now they can do. So I think that the change really reinforces that Rotaract members are change makers and will allow those projects to have a greater impact by being able to access foundation funds. But perhaps there's an important education component for clubs and districts to take on, working with Rotaractors for about the foundation. And I know, Phoenix, you may have some more thoughts on how to do that effectively.
Yeah, thanks, Joey. It's really exciting that we're going to be able to start accessing the foundation, and I think it's a really important step for us. The biggest advice that we can give is don't wait until July 2022 to start having these conversations. I mean, it's already been known that we have access to this. So as a district or anyone who mentors a Rotaract club, you can have these conversations and start educating them about the foundation and ways they can get involved, learning about grants and how everything works. Because then as soon as July 22 comes, that club is just going to be that much further ahead in terms of being able to utilize the foundation.
Barry, any thoughts of best practices and how we can collaborate before even July 1st, 2022?
The idea is that Rotaractors and Rotarians need to sit down around a table and listen to each other. Too many Rotary clubs aren't listening, and that's the key. Let's listen to our young professionals, treat them with the same respect as we would with our own members. And Rotaractors need to listen to us as well. And then we need to collaborate and understand that ability to come together with plans going forward. But to me, it's all about those relationships. My Rotary Club is an example. Our Rotaract Club has 100% transition into our Rotary Club. And we never cared about the age, so that's varied over the years anyway. There's no Rotary police. We understand that. But it's because they come to our club when they're Rotaractors, so they know some of us. And then they're comfortable. And we really need that comfort level for Rotaractors to say, yeah, I'm going to join that Rotary Club when I'm ready.
And just to build on that about listening and having people around the table, the RI board and trustees have certainly benefited from having a Rotaract representative participate in the board meetings. And Joey, you were the Rotaract representative to the board, the RI board, for the first 6 months of this Rotary year. And it was an absolute pleasure to have you there. Can you tell us about your experience and how it affected you? If it's been beneficial, just share some of your thoughts and experiences.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly feel very fortunate to have benefited from the experience, but perhaps more importantly, I think the board did benefit from having a Rotaractor in the room. I was fortunate to be that one, but anyone would have still brought the advice and ability to advocate on topics, not just the ones that affect Rotaractors, but all of the issues that our organization faces, and not just how Rotaractors, but also the other younger members, how they might view those decisions that the board makes. And I think the board is a pretty efficient group, but everybody was so welcoming, and there was definitely opportunities to provide feedback, and the board members were certainly receptive to ideas. And I think that the experience was really positive for everybody. Again, I'm fortunate to have been there and learned from the global perspective that all of the directors and staff bring to the team. And I think that I'll certainly be able to take that on to other roles now with a new viewpoint on how things work.
It was a great experience, and it's really interesting having the board meetings in this new virtual environment, and it's a different way of participating, and we certainly enjoyed your voice, and it was very important around the table. Phoenix, you currently sit on the Rotary International Rotaract Committee. Can you give us an idea of the scope of the work ahead in this Rotary year from that committee?
Certainly. So far this year, we've been able to look at reviewing some of the code of policies and providing recommendations to the board, along with proposing enactments for the Council on Legislation. The committee has also been working with the Rotaract staff members and working on the collaboration of multi-district information organizations and just really strengthening that area. We are also working on planning for the Rotaract pre-convention, and then we've also been able to hear from Rotary International's Shaping Rotary's Future, which has been really exciting as well.
Great. Let's talk a little bit about the dual membership of change of Rotaract and Rotary. In your experience, are many taking on this dual membership, and how do you see this as a positive change going forward, or are there some challenges that you've encountered or you anticipate?
Yeah, I think, from my experience here in North America, I don't see a lot of dual members maybe, and the ones that I've seen so far, it's usually the Rotaractors I find that are the ones initiating the relationship. They're the ones deciding that, it's time for them to join a Rotary club, and then they'll go out and find the Rotary club that they want to join and become a member and still be a member of the Rotaract club because they've had such a great experience in Rotaract. And like Barry was saying, Rotaract is a perfect funnel into Rotary. There's 250,000 Rotaractors that are already knowledgeable and committed to our organization. But perhaps in our region, maybe the clubs aren't doing as good of a job promoting the dual membership to transition the Rotaractors into Rotary clubs. Clubs that want to engage younger members or attract Rotaractors to join the clubs really should be engaging with and learning from Rotaractors, not just waiting for them to come and wanting to join their clubs. So with that, I think it's also really important to focus on the benefits of joining a Rotary club. In my own experience, I often get asked when I will be joining a particular club, and I've rarely been asked about what I would be looking for in a Rotary club or talked to about why I should join a specific club. So I think that folks should just keep that in mind when they're talking about to Rotaractors about joining their clubs and trying to attract them to join their clubs. And I think, Phoenix, you'll have some really good ideas too about how clubs could work together to do that.
Yeah, thank you, Joey. So my experience is very similar to Joey's in that, I have a lot of interactions with clubs in my area, but I've never been asked to join a Rotary club specifically. And I think that's an important question that Rotary clubs need to start asking. And so I actually want to take it back though, in terms of talking more about dual membership and how clubs can support that. So in my experience, a lot of clubs are interested, but they don't really know how to navigate how to support dual membership. And so the best advice I can give is in your area, talk to each other about how you want to handle dual membership. Because I think the biggest thing that we see is competition among Rotary clubs to get someone from Rotaract to join their specific club. And I think if you start having those conversations and talk about what the barriers are for Rotaractors coming to your club and eliminating them as a whole, then the Rotaractor is able to choose a club based on what suits them best, rather than going with the club that's the cheapest or that suits their time. And so I think it's really important in evaluating what those obstacles are so that you're able to start having those conversations with Rotaractors on joining your club.
Thanks. I'm keeping my eye on the questions coming in, and really you're highlighting a lot of the questions that we're getting. One person actually is asking, our district has a poor conversion rate when Rotaract members age out of the guidelines for Rotaract membership. We're losing great people, but don't really know why. It's hard to get those leaving to tell us why. Any suggestions on, again, it's that open conversation, it's that sitting down, right? But what do you think about that?
You know, I think it's really important that Rotarians go to the Rotaract clubs, not waiting for you to leave and asking you why, but go there and ask them what they think about Rotary now. Get a feel and listen to what they have to say. Ask them what they'd like, as Joey was saying. What do they want? And I think from that, we would learn enough so people would start at least asking themselves, maybe I should join a Rotary club.
Sorry, can you give us like maybe number one thing that you think Rotary clubs should do to improve your experience? You know, is it that conversation? Is it opening up opportunities for Rotaractors to develop their own unique clubs? What do you find maybe one of the biggest barriers is in joining Rotary?
For me, I think it comes down to receptiveness to change and new ideas. You know, I always see clubs that they know that they have to change and they want to change, but then when they ask, you know, what they should change, they go, oh, we can't change that. You know, we've been doing it the same way for however long. You know, it's kind of those things. Then you go, okay, well, I'll go and find whatever I'm looking for somewhere else. Or, you know, what's the point of asking for what the younger people are looking for if you're not truly trying to actually change. So I think that's still where we wind up back at. But I don't know if Phoenix or Barry, you have other ideas.
Yeah, I think for me, it's more being able to have a connection with Rotary, right? So I have a lot of conversations with Rotarians, and you know, I really want those conversations to be genuine and have the Rotarians take an interest in what I'm talking about, right? And so while I'm seen as I guess more of a senior leader in Rotaract, I still want them to be able to take what I'm saying at face, or like for what it is, right? And really support what I'm trying to advocate, rather than just saying yes for the sake of saying yes.
For me, it's just like bringing in a new member to our Rotary clubs. We don't always give them all the information. We don't listen. We tell them this is what we are and this is what you do. We've got to stop that. We've got to listen to those coming in, find out what their expectations are, and then work toward meeting their expectations.
Sounds pretty simple.
I wish.
So we're getting a lot of questions about dues. So I'm going to jump to that question. As Barry highlighted, Rotaractors will begin paying dues July 1, 2022. And these dues are obviously, they're going to support new products and service that will help deliver even greater value to Rotaract members in the future. So let's talk about that. Do you think this will affect Rotaract membership? What are you hearing? Just give us some of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I think that the dues offer a greater flexibility. And so I think the biggest thing to understand is that while dues from Rotary International are new, dues to Rotaract clubs are not. And so, for example, my club, we charge $100 a year. And so as a club, we are now having that conversation in terms of what does this change in terms of having to pay Rotary International now. And so as a Rotaract club, we have flexibility in terms of our club can just pay those dues on behalf of our members. And so we don't necessarily need to change our own dues structure to accommodate the new dues coming in from Rotary International. And so I don't think it really I don't think it would hinder our membership in that case, right? Where we already have dues in place.
And I think, you know, Barry talked about the data. It's super important. We need to know who the Rotaractors are in order to then be able to connect with them and understand and what services they want or what they benefit from the Rotary International side. So by improving the databases and getting the Rotaractor information, I think in different parts of the world, we'll see the data change in different ways. As Rotaractors start having to pay dues based on the reported membership, I think we'll see, you know, some fluctuation, but I don't think that it's going to actually result in a change in members. It might result in a change in how we like the number that we look at in terms of the total number of members, but that'll just be because we have more accurate information.
And I'm aware of a club in a country that says that they have 4,000 members. The reality is, I don't know how 4,000 members of a club meet anywhere on a regular basis. And I think having a dues structure will really find out what the real number is of who's doing Rotaract work and who's really part of Rotaract. And so we might see a drop in membership, but I think long run, we're going to see a growth because Rotaractors more and more already are recognizing that this is an opportunity for them to do more in the organization. And we've seen a growth in Rotaract clubs that's much, much faster than Rotary clubs at this point in time. You look at our membership dashboard, and I know, Valarie, you see that, and look at the Rotaract numbers on there. Rotaract is growing, Rotary is not. So I think we're going in the right direction for what they want. We just need our Rotary clubs to look at their cultures and make sure that culture is relevant to young professionals.
And you know, we have a question in the chat box that probably you've just slightly addressed, or we can expand on. And I think this is a question a lot of us get, you know, now that we've removed the age limit of Rotary and we are introducing a lower dues structure, what would be the benefit of joining a Rotary club when there's such a huge difference in dues? Why not stay in Rotaract?
The first thing to me is, you know, I think a lot of Rotary clubs build in other things into the total dues that they charge. So the Rotary International dues, you know, aren't that much. I can't remember, you know, the exact amount, but it's like $55 US or something like that. And, you know, I think if dues are the concern, you know, clubs should be looking at what value they're getting for the things that they charge in addition to the Rotary International dues, and same with the district dues and so on and so forth. And so I don't think that the dues are truly going to be the issue in having Rotaractors jump to Rotary. I think there's a lot more that Rotary clubs can offer members than Rotaract clubs for some things. You know, there's more professional members and different types of connections that Rotaractors will value as they grow in age and profession. So, you know, that's how I look at that question, but I'm sure the others have things to add as well.
Yeah, I think just kind of touching off of what Joey said, our age range of 18 to 30 is very transient, right? We're in very different stages of our lives. So while Rotaract might be a great fit for us when we're in our early 20s, by the time we start hitting 30 or even a bit older, we might be ready to make that change to Rotary. And it's not necessarily just due to age, but it could be due to where we are in our professional careers. And so I think just being able to have the option to join what club we feel comfortable with is really the most important thing.
And I think one advantage that they will find is that when they get into the Rotary Club, they really have an opportunity to network with key players in their communities. And that's big on a young person in a new profession, to get some of that mentorship, some of that guidance, some of that ability to, oh, you're looking for this kind of job. I know this person. I mean, you know, for years, we stopped talking about that. We said we're a service organization. But reality is a lot of people are in Rotary because of the networking. And let's not play it down. That's a reality, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think Rotaractors could get a lot out of that networking to help them in their growth.
One of the other things that we sometimes don't highlight is that we're a leadership organization. And Barry highlighted the fact that we've signed a joint agreement with Toastmasters, and there's 8 modules that are available to clubs and districts. And I'm seeing a lot of Rotary clubs and districts take this on in joint partnership and having dual membership in both Toastmasters and Rotary. How do you feel there'll be benefits for Rotaractors with our new agreement with Toastmasters?
I think it's just another great opportunity for Rotaractors to take advantage of, right? It's just another benefit of being in Rotary. And I know my district specifically, they're working with a Toastmasters district to help support the resources that are currently online. And so they're really focused and dedicated to be able to provide this to all the members. and be able to have another benefit for being part of Rotary.
Any thoughts, Julie?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think one of the main reasons Rotaractors join Rotaract is to, sorry, my phone was ringing. One of the main reasons that Rotaractors join is to get, to learn new skills and to grow in things that they'd like to learn. And public speaking is often one of those things. And Rotaract and Rotary meetings are such a perfect place to be able to practice public speaking. I think that the agreement with Toastmasters is really like the paperwork stuff that Barry was mentioning. And in order for these partnerships to be successful, clubs and districts really need to do the work and connect with the Toastmasters clubs in the area and provide the services to that'll help the Rotaractors to gain those skills too.
I have to tell you, when I was their age, I was unable to make a speech. I mean, I remember the first one the Rotary made me do, and I'm holding on to the lectern, looking down at the speech that I'd written. I got to the bottom of the first page. I was too nervous to let go of the lectern to change the page. I was petrified. I want young people to have an opportunity to go through that horror and get past it so that they can feel comfortable. And that's just one skill that we can provide, but that's a very important one. And Rotary really gives you that opportunity to develop that kind of skill.
Well, we're going to wrap up this panel right now. I really want to thank you for your participation. I think you've really helped everyone on this session really understand how we can take this conversation, how we can take that on paper change that we've made for Rotaract and how we can move it forward. And what's really exciting is we have an introduction now of a couple of people, a couple of Rotaractors who are going to give us a call to action and give us some tangible ways that we can continue this conversation.
Thanks, Valerie, and thanks to Barry, Phoenix, and Joey for a terrific panel. Now to help us navigate what's next, we've invited two Rotaract members to provide their call to action. Cole Baker is a member of the MacEwan University Rotaract Club from District 5370. Cole is Rotaract Canada's Policy Assistant Coordinator and is also involved at the zone level as an innovative club advocate. Gus Lopez is the Deputy General Secretary of Rotaract Canada and an Assistant Rotary Public Image Coordinator in Zone 28 East. Please welcome Cole and Gus.
Hello, folks. We've talked a lot about Rotaractors this evening, as that is what is surrounding this event. And I would like to offer an affirmation to Rotarians. I myself, though I'm 23 years old, have been involved with Rotary in any capacity for the past 18, 19 years. I share this because I come from a Rotary family. I'm a past Rotary Youth Exchange student who went to Okayama, Japan. I came back, started an Interact club. I, of course, sought out the Rotaract club when I joined university. And now I'm engaging at different levels, whether that's with Rotaract Canada, the zone, or the district. And I share this not to simply share my experience, but just to say that it's working. It's working, and my experience isn't my own. Gus similarly has a very similar Rotary trajectory, and all of these things that we're implementing is helping create Rotary as an inclusive environment to grow. So, as mentioned in my introduction, I'm a part of Rotaract Canada, a proud member of the MacEwan University Rotaract Club, and I'm also involved at the zone level with the Innovative Club Advocate Team, or ICAs. So the goal of the Innovative Club Advocates is to help create new and also innovate existing clubs, which is going to be key when we're trying to recruit new Rotaractors and recruit new Rotarians. So this is done with the aim of keeping Rotary and Rotaract fresh and engaging for membership, as well as meeting folks where they're at. So if I could have you take anything away from this session, it's that we are all intrinsically connected through the power and shared values of Rotary. I encourage you to leverage this commonality. Rotarians and Rotaractors alike want to see Rotary as an organization flourish. But this can only be done if we innovate accordingly and create space for growth at the grassroots level. As a Rotaractor, I'm imploring you to reach out to our ICA team. Our info is on the Zone 2832 website, and it talks about innovating and reinvigorating your district. And we want to have that conversation. We want to talk to you about that. And I encourage you to engage with ICAs as we're currently developing a toolkit for districts and clubs to become more inclusive of Rotaract. It includes ideas such as initiating a district Rotaract committee and having Rotaractors at your board meetings at the club level. We are hoping that this toolkit that includes zone-wide best practices will help further elevate Rotaract. It's all well and great that we've said that we've elevated it, but let's incorporate that at the grassroots level to truly elevate it in practice. We aren't finished our work, and we simply can't do it alone. This is a team effort. So with that, I encourage you all to sign up for our Young Professionals ICA event, which is occurring on February 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And so now I'll hand it off to Gus to share some of his takeaways.
Thank you, Cole. I love seeing all the faces here tonight, eager to learn more about Elevate Rotaract and the great discussions about innovation and new opportunities for Rotaractors and Rotarians to serve side by side. As Cole mentioned, in addition to being an MDAO executive and an assistant public image coordinator for the zone, I was also once an exchange student and an interactor. And I can really attest for the value of the experience when Rotaractors become empowered to lead. You know, Barry talked today about taking a step back from our clubs and looking beyond at the big picture. And that's something that I've personally had the opportunity to do as a Rotaractor in my roles with both the zone and the MDAO. And I think that that really speaks to the value of giving Rotaractors like myself and the many other great talents on and off this call today, a seat at the table. Now, training and educating Rotaractors about the opportunities ahead are key to setting them up for success and truly elevating Rotaract. And that's where Rotaract Canada comes in. As with any other MDAO, Rotaract Canada is a grassroots movement dedicated to connecting our Rotaractors from coast to coast to share best practices and resources and do better together. I love hearing Cole talk about you know, meeting folks where they're at, and then at the same, and you know, that's the same spirit of collaboration and that's the same spirit of collaboration and empowerment. It's about doing it better together, right? And so on that note, I am extremely excited to share with you all tonight about the Rotaract Canada Symposium. And I think that there's a slide that we can share with the information on the screen. This is our first ever online conference for Rotaract Canada, and it's a unique opportunity to connect Rotaractors across the zone for a fun, inspiring, and transformational event. This is a partnership between the MDAO and 4 distinct Rotaract clubs from 4 different districts spread all over Canada, leading from a place of diversity to create an event by Rotaractors and for Rotaractors. We'll have some of the best keynote speakers out there in the Rotary world, some practical training sessions for Rotaract Club Officer and DRR, tailored specifically to address the unique needs and challenges of our region. So the event happens on March 19 to 21, 2021. Sustainability, leadership, and how we proceed both in a new world and a new Rotaract environment are some of the topics that we're going to tackle. And you can register today at rotaractcanada.org/conference. And I'm going to drop the link on the chat shortly. And that's it for me. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks Cole and Gus, and thank you everyone for participating in tonight's Director Dialogue. Please join us for our next installment March 10th, when Valerie's special guest will be Rotary International President-elect Shekhar Mehta and Rwandan-born first-generation Canadian Rotary Peace Fellow Marie-Paul Atama, discussing the topic Positive Peace. We also want to make you aware of a few other upcoming virtual events. Next Tuesday evening, the Zone Innovative Club Advocate Team will have a 30-minute session on how to start an eco club in your district. On February 16th, join the Innovative Club Advocates as they host a webinar to help you and your club with options for helping young professionals to develop new clubs that meet their needs, whether Rotary, Rotaract, or other. And what Gus just mentioned, Rotaract Canada is sponsoring a symposium titled Forward, March 19th through 21st. Rotarians and Rotaractors from throughout the zone are invited to attend. Now let's turn it over to Director Valarie for some closing remarks.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for being with us this evening. A huge thank you to past Rotary International President Valarie Rassin for his passion and his drive to support Rotary and elevate Rotaract. You know, this is a two-way conversation, and tonight was just a dialogue. This conversation needs to continue. We need to sit down with our Rotaractors. We need to ask them what their Rotaract or Rotary experience is going to look like, and we need to meet them and meet their needs. And, you know, we're living in an amazing time in our history where we're seeing innovation occur through the dialogue of our flexibility of the way we're meeting, but also for the opportunities, unfortunately, that COVID has given us, fortunately and unfortunately, to be able to really realize that we have a new way of meeting and we have a new way of dialogue, and we can change and be that Rotary of the future. I also want to send out a huge thank you to Phoenix, Joey, Cole, and Gus for being with us tonight and being the Rotaract voice and continuing the conversation and driving us in the right direction. I also want to send a huge thank you to Bruce and Sue Goldson, the team, and our producer, Alexander Falk, who this wouldn't happen without this amazing team. They make all of this happen. So thank you so much. And thank you for being with us tonight. I look forward to seeing you at our next Director Dialogue in March. So be well, be safe, and be healthy. Thank you everyone for being with us tonight.